Hi everyone, my name is Blake DiCarlo and this is my Capstone project presentation on Constellation Energy, completed as part of the Master of Business Administration program at Robert Morris University. So to provide a little bit of history and background of Constellation Energy, Constellation is a service provider of electricity in the United States. They were originally formed in 1996 by the Baltimore Gas and Electric Company and have gone through many iterations since then as holding companies, buying power plants, acquiring other service providers around them, and have had just numerous iterations. In 2012, they were acquired by Exelon Corporation, but became independent again in 2022 whenever they split off from them. They have a very diverse energy production portfolio, so they mainly specialize in nuclear energy production, but they also do a lot of business with natural gas and then decreasing amounts of hydro, wind, solar, and oil energy production. They're actually the United States' largest producer of clean energy, and they supply about 10% of the total grid power. They're 100% committed to sustainability initiatives and pledge to be 100% carbon-free by 2040. The key strategic issue that I identified in Constellation's business is their issues in balancing nuclear energy's role in their energy fleet with the market's push towards other forms of renewable energy. This is a problem for them because they are so focused on nuclear energy, but the market is really, really pushing for other types of energy production and kind of stifling nuclear energy in a way. One way that this is difficult for them is because the public perception of nuclear energy is fairly negative. It's about a 50-50 split usually. A lot of people are concerned about the safety of nuclear reactors, how waste management of this radioactive material is done after the fuel is spent, and just the general costs of implementing and maintaining these reactors. Again, consumer and regulator preferences are really pressuring the industry to move towards renewable energy. So consumers really want clean environment, better public health initiatives, and things like that. And regulators want to limit the amount of emissions and pollutions that come from energy production. So there's a lot of forces on the industry to be renewable, but not necessarily nuclear. The implementation and operation costs of renewable energy also pose a significant challenge to Constellation because it is not cheap to just do a 180 and make renewable energy more of your core energy fleet. So this applies to both nuclear and renewable energy options because they are both expensive and fairly difficult to implement. They're expensive because of research costs, implementation costs, maintenance costs, and just general strict regulations for their upkeep. To provide a general industry overview of the electric utility industry, historically, fossil fuels were most used for electricity generation, so things like coal and oil and gas. As of 2023, fossil fuels make up about 60% of the grid, which is better than before, but still not great. Now, renewables and nuclear sit just around 20%. Coal is experiencing the most significant decline, and all other forms of energy production are kind of moving into its place. Again, the market is trending towards clean and renewable energy forms. This is encouraged through regulations and government incentives. So you can get fined if you break these new regulation laws, but they also give you rewards if you comply with them. Overall, the electricity demand is expected to increase substantially over the long term as a result of digitization. So there's a lot more things that people are plugging in, like their cars. There's a lot of data centers popping up, and there's just a lot of things that need to run on electricity nowadays. So the industry is expected to grow significantly in the long term. The external factors that affect this industry the most are definitely technological, governmental, and environmental. Technological because these are the ways that they can produce this energy, governmental because it is very heavily regulated, and environmental because energy production contributes a lot to the creation or lack of pollution in the world. A quick SWOT analysis of Constellation will show you that their strengths lie mainly in their expertise in nuclear energy and clean power. So again, nuclear energy is their main source of energy production, and clean power kind of lags behind natural gas, but it is still there. They do still have competencies there. They have a lot of strategic partnerships, and as a result, proprietary technology. So they work together with outside firms to do research, come up with new ideas, and really just put their heads together to innovate for the future as a whole rather than for just an individual company. Their weaknesses lie in their reliance on natural gas and the public perception issues with nuclear energy. So, nuclear and natural gas are their top two ways of producing electricity. And so they rely a little bit too much on natural gas, but their one trick pony is nuclear energy, and the public doesn't necessarily support that totally yet. Their opportunities lie in the growing capabilities of renewable energy. So every day there are technological advancements being made in this area. So new ways to collect the power, new ways to generate it, new ways to harness it, new ways to store it. There's always something happening and popping up. So hopefully Constellation is the one that is coming up with this new idea, and they can actually capture that opportunity for themselves. Another thing that is really good for them is the regulatory incentives that they are experiencing, because they do comply with a lot of regulation standards. So they receive energy credits. They have special rules that apply to them because they comply with emission standards. Threats, however, lie in regulatory and economic pressures. So just because they're compliant with them now doesn't mean that they will always be easy to comply with. And economic pressures basically just applies to if they have enough money to invest in research and development of these things to keep their business going. Another threat that they face is significant competition from renewables-focused companies. So there are other companies that are really good at hydropower and solar power and wind power, and they kind of are. So in a way that they are actually behind those other companies, even though they are really good at nuclear energy. If the market keeps going towards renewable energies, they will be left behind. Constellation's core competencies lie in their commitment to community, commitment to the environment, and their technological innovations. So their commitment to community is seen really well through their DEI initiatives and their employee recruiting and retention activities. So Constellation needs very talented, bright people, and they know that. And so they do these initiatives so that they can get as many people as possible that fit into this mold that they need in an employee. So the DEI initiatives just make sure that they are getting diverse thoughts. Everyone has a fair chance to put their thoughts in, and they're just getting a very rounded idea of knowledge that is out there. The employee recruiting and retention activities include continued education. So this is also very beneficial to them because their employees are still learning and they're feeling very supported in this environment. So they want to take their ideas to Constellation and allow them to nurture them into an actual function that they do. Their commitment to the environment is how they set their goals, and they pursue them and strategize to achieve them. So, for example, they want to be 100% carbon free by 2040 and reduce it by 65% in 2030. Their commitment to the environment really empowers them to keep going and make these innovations because they really want to achieve these goals and they are very serious about it. The technological innovations comes from their strategic partnerships and work contracts. So again, they're working with outside companies with more diverse thoughts, a larger population to draw ideas from. And as a result, they have a lot of innovations and new ideas popping up all the time. They dedicate a lot of their investment into research and development. So it is not something that they put on the back burner. They really prioritize it, and they know that it is a core function that they need to do, and have become, as a result, really good at it. So my strategic recommendation is to use a multi-pronged approach. So just as a reminder, their task is to address the balance between nuclear and renewable energy in their fleet. So just to provide a quick list, and then I will go into detail, they should increase investment into renewable energy research, development, and implementation. They should try to modernize and reposition nuclear energy while educating the public, and they should try to leverage their core competencies for enhanced operational and customer experiences. So what do I mean by expanding renewable energy? First, they should increase investments in solar, wind, and battery storage projects. Just because they aren't very robust at it now doesn't mean that they can't become very good at it. So by increasing their investment in these projects, they can become really good at it and implement it into their fleet and diversify their energy production into more areas that the market is desiring. To do this, they can partner with innovative projects like doing wind farms with somebody, making large solar energy ventures with somebody. So if they partner with another company that is good at this, they can be kind of taken under their wing and supported through the process. This will diversify the energy fleet to reduce the reliance on natural gas and appeal to market trends. So not only will they be decreasing something that is not going to be good very soon because it produces emissions, natural gas, but they are following market trends to hydro, solar, and wind power things. The total benefits of this is that it will align with regulatory requirements by decreasing emissions, and it will meet customer sustainability expectations. So what the market is expecting of them. So what do I mean by modernizing nuclear energy? One way that they can modernize nuclear energy is to deploy small modular reactors around the area to improve flexibility and reduce cost. Small modular reactors are essentially the full-sized nuclear power plants just condensed into a much smaller and much cheaper mini plant, essentially. By doing this, they can reach more customers, not only through like data center operations or rural communities, but it makes nuclear energy more familiar to people in the area and the customers that are around it. By making it more familiar, Constellation then has the opportunity to educate the public on nuclear energy so they can talk to them about safety, the environmental impacts of nuclear and kind of debunk the misconceptions that surround it. A lot of people have generally negative or iffy opinions surrounding nuclear energy, and as a result, that makes nuclear less desirable than other forms like the tried and true fossil fuels or the really shiny new renewables. Nuclear is kind of stuck in the middle. So if they can change the public's perception of nuclear energy, they have the opportunity to make it what the market actually really wants. Through this, they can also advocate for regulatory policy, so they can lobby for incentives to make nuclear like formally recognized as a super reliable and clean energy source. By implementing incentives for nuclear energy, the total market will reevaluate what nuclear energy can do for them and the impacts of it. So the industry will see this and the general public. The benefits of modernizing nuclear energy will be that Constellation can maintain their leadership in nuclear energy while also polishing their public image. Constellation Energy can also leverage their core competencies in response to this strategic issue. They can implement AI and machine learning to learn about usage patterns and use that information to optimize the grid and increase customer engagement. By optimizing the grid, they can see who is using power, how much power did they use, where were they, what time was it. They can make sure that they are supplying appropriate amounts of power to the correct locations at the correct time. So it makes it more efficient. They're not moving electricity somewhere that it's not needed, and there's not an area that is requesting all this electricity that isn't there. So by optimizing the grid, they can ensure that their customers' needs are getting met fully, and they are doing it as efficiently and optimally as possible. Again, this is increasing their operational efficiency through predictive maintenance tools. They can also develop customer-facing technologies that will help engage users so people can see how much energy they used. They can see where their energy was produced, where it traveled. It can make electricity use something that's cool for the consumer and not just a thoughtless action. The benefit of this would be that it strengthens Constellation's position as an innovative energy leader. So not only can they produce this energy and deliver it to the customers, but they can make it super efficient, super reliable, and cool for the customer to experience. So what are the expected outcomes and general conclusion if Constellation pursues this multi-pronged strategy? They can expect a strengthened competitive position through their balanced energy portfolio. So they won't rely on nuclear as much. They won't have any natural gas because of the emissions and fossil fuel nature of it, but they will be a lot better at renewable energy things. So by balancing their energy portfolio, they will be ready for any shift the market may throw at them. If they can enhance the public perception of nuclear energy, then they are again manipulating the market into enjoying something that they already are. So they are already very good at nuclear energy. If they can make the public believe that nuclear energy is this amazing thing, as it is, they can really increase the amount of customers and amount of business that they get from it and the amount of regulatory incentives that they get. They can also expect to achieve long-term leadership in renewable and nuclear energy markets as a result of this. And they will also achieve operational efficiencies and more customer loyalty as a result of their driven and advanced technologies that they can implement. So thank you for watching. Happy holidays, everybody. If anybody has any questions, I will be more than happy to answer them. And yeah, have a nice end of the year.